Okay, well,
It's a small crowd tonight.
Yeah.
No Ralph, no Julie, no.
Julie will probably be along
Okay.
and Molly's here, and Bob,
Yeah, Bob Whitmore.
so Bob and Julie. Right,
What about David?
not sure. So we do have a quorum because there are four of us,
Quality.
four voting members.
Does Molly, does that count digitally?
Molly,
Oh,
and you,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
right.
Right, I keep getting your note.
So I call this meeting on October 27th of the Gloucester Historical Meeting. To begin. Present are Molly Hardy, Susan Morial, Maggie Debbie, Tim Quinn, Sue Wright, and special guest Gary
Ewing.
Ewing. All right, so the first order of business is to vote on the meeting minutes of September 29th. Did anybody have any comment? Any issue? Okay, then if not,
I move to approve the minutes.
all right, Maggie moves, we need a second, Tim seconds. I vote yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. And a yes for Molly? Yep, okay, so meeting minutes are approved. Under administration, I was very excited that Sue found the actual documents that established the historical commission. And that was way back in 1965. So there was a city council order on January 7th, but if you read what they said about it, they delayed the vote because somebody wasn't there and they wanted him to be part of, hi, and now we have Julie Travers joining us. They wanted this other person to be here, so they voted the next meeting, February the 4th, and that established our historical commission. Now, after that, whether they actually formed a commission and met and had meetings, that's the next
Mystery.
research project to do. I know that it was in the early 90s, 92 and 93, that they came up with a structure of officers and how many times they would meet and things like that. But that wasn't until 93. So I don't know if anything happened in between, but I just wanted to let you know that, just a quick update on that. So several months ago, Tim inquired about our being a certified local government. And we decided that it was more work than it was worth. We voted against it. Come to find out, we need a letter from the mayor to decertify us. And I don't know about any of you, but I don't think it's a good idea to ask for that.
I think you're right. I guess just let them be on.
I think we can just let it lapse. We can just let it lapse.
Just let it lapse, or right now, we're only 2 annual reports behind.
Correct.
If any of us feel ambitious this winter and want to approach that, then perhaps we could get it going. But
It's not-
for right now,
What's the advantage of it?
you can get some monies, but it's not a lot of monies and there's a lot of hoops to jump through.
There's
So,
a lot of other local certified governments who are also in the running for that money as well. So it's not a ton.
oh,
That's the only
welcome.
reason
Have some
That's the only
chocolate.
reason maybe is to get
I was gonna
like,
have a piece of candy
Is it
if you have a
big
chance.
no, I mean, total, I think it was 110,000 a year, or something like that, or 120,000 a year, I think is what it was, split between all the commissions of Massachusetts. It wasn't very much. So I think we said even if we got one, it would probably be like a $10,000
Yeah, it's not
Um,
very
it's
nice.
not very
So
much,
I'd like
it's
to
annually.
table the discussion because this is really is not about a certified local
Yeah.
government.
Right.
This is just to say that because we're actually still a certified local government,
We are,
I put it back on the list.
okay.
And the reason I'm being very brief in all these reports is because we have a lot of discussion on the preservation awards, and that's what I'd really like this meeting to be about.
Cool.
So Sue, if you'd like to know more about it, we can talk about it after the meeting or at another time.
Yep, I just.
Yeah, I can give you more. about that.
So it's, we have one more deferred project on our, project list. Number two on our agenda is the preservation restriction for 27 Vine Street. Preservation restriction comes from the owner. It gets built into the deed. And Barbara Lambert owns this house and she approached Historic New England last year, made the application. The house is from the original property sale was 1641, other parts of it from the 1700s. And there are lots of pictures. It's a multi-page application with many, many pictures on it. Actually, very interesting. Anyway, it behooves the city and the commission to have another, to have this house protected. And Ralph was part of Historic New England, contacted him last year about the application. We did our part in it, but it hasn't gone through yet. And I just inquired why, and it's held up on the owner's signature. Now, Barbara Lambert was a chair of this commission. I think she's still on a chair or a board in Gloucester. I did email her offering our help. And that was on October 12th. I haven't heard from her. So it's just an FYI that there is a preservation restriction application out there, which would be wonderful for the city to have. And it's on our project list only because if there's anything more we can do, if anybody knows Barbara Lambert and runs into her, you might ask her if there's anything we can do to help that along. So number 3 is demolition delay. We actually made great progress this month. Councilor Worthley got his order on the city council agenda for tomorrow night. So that's the next step. The city council then weighs in on it in some way and then sends it off to ordinances and administration, unless there's some kind of hiccup. So that's a great move in the right direction.
Will that be a public hearing or? Later?
Tomorrow is at their regular meeting. Yes, this is their agenda right there.
Mm-hmm. Which number is it?
Number 1 there.
Number 1? Oh,
Yeah, we're the first one in yellow.
oh, down there. Oh,
Well, I think actually, he's just presenting it tomorrow. It's not being voted on tomorrow, is it?
No.
No, it's, from what I understand, it's an introduction.
That's what I
It's getting an order on their agenda, though, is a task.
thought.
So it's a coup, that we've done,
it's a
that
formality.
Worthley has
So
done this.
we wouldn't have a chance to speak on it like that.
Not
No,
yet.
no.
No, we're far away from that.
Okay.
I think the next step is that city council then would approve it moving on to the other two ordinances and administration.
Mhm.
So we'll keep you posted.
Okay.
A lot of action in historic house plaques. First of all, the installation of the City Hall plaque was great fun, and thank you, everybody who came, who could.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day. And we got great press from it. It was in the city newsletter, that picture there on the right. And it was also in the Times. It was 2 weeks later, and Ethan apologized profusely for that, but he did get it in. And it was the first headline and above the fold. So
That's a big deal.
both of those things highlighted the plaque program and gave the website. So that was very good press. The next day, Rich and I went over to the Burgess house and he installed the sign for them. They are just thrilled, by the way, to understand the research that we did. Really, really appreciative. And Julie did the lion's share of that, and it was a difficult one. And they're just really, she especially was just very impressed. She said that it makes living in that house more relevant. She has a new appreciation for it. So that was very nice feedback to hear.
Mhm.
Let's see,
Who's putting up the sign?
Rich.
that's Rich.
Oh, okay. He said, had it, I couldn't tell.
The historic plaque application that we approved at the September meeting
Mhm.
is underway. They ordered the plaque, and that's what the plaque will look
All
like.
right, they got the wife in there too.
That looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
perfect, absolutely perfect.
yeah.
And this is what the vendor, Lisa, does. She sends me the mock-up and the applicant the mock-up to make sure that we're both good with it. So that's a really nice courtesy. So we're not blindsided by seeing something
And she
up,
got the wife's name in fit nicely.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a true artist. She's
It's
very
nice
good.
that the number of letters left out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, didn't it? Yeah, I wanted everybody to see it. Now,
That's awesome.
this one was a drive-by. This was not on Prue's list.
Hmm.
It's not on ours.
On Summer Street.
Oh,
So I happened to learn about it when we were hanging the town hall plaque, because Tony Gross was there, and he happened to say that he happened to have lived at 52 South Street and it had a plaque on it. So I checked our inventory. I didn't see it, so I drove past it and I took some pictures. I added it to our inventory and to the,
So funny that these keep popping up, the ones that we don't have
That looks
documented.
like the house I have piano lessons in, and that'd be to the right of the front door, in that room, right, the front room.
That you do or did have piano.
I took piano
You still do,
lessons.
yeah?
No, I took them then, when I was 6.
Oh, on Summer Street.
That's ancient, dude, that's really old.
My sister lives right around the corner from my house.
Tim,
Yeah,
these are
what,
your neighbors.
yes. His name's Matt. He's a lovely man, actually. But he's eagerly waiting. He's gonna put it back up, but he wants to make sure after I talk to him that we're okay putting it back up. Based on what we found out. Didn't find out. Tell him to put it up anyways.
So it's very hard. I looked into it a little bit and
I did tell him I'd give him an update, so at some point,
yeah, because that's the one with a huge discrepancy, right, between
what the plaque says and what Chris says.
Chris, yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it was 30 years or something like that. What I'm wondering is if they're both right.
Is
If
the
this fellow
name-
lived there after
Yeah, maybe,
the earlier one.
yeah.
What was the earlier name?
I can't imagine that Prue's research was based on nothing.
No.
And the file on this house is actually at the Museum Green in storage. So there is some kind of documentation. Whether it's the earliest person that lived there or the date it was actually built, we don't know. So what does everybody think? Ask them. It was up at one time. You can see when the house was painted yellow, it was up and then it got painted. First it was white, then it was yellow. I think it's
It's yellow again.
still yellow.
It's a lighter yellow now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it came down maybe when they were painting it.
Yes.
So
They did a bunch of repairs on it.
I was just wondering why it was down, and then come to find out there's two schools of thought on the research. So what does everybody think?
What was the
Do-
original? See, before this plaque, what was the information on Macris?
It says 1730. They're calling it the Trask Harridan House.
Well,
Trask Harridan House, two
Okay,
names.
yeah.
So neither of those people are, but.
And that's
maybe that is
17
somebody who's really
1730?
Yeah,
Plus before. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
It is an
It's-
interesting one though, that this is a commission-based one and not like the 85 prospect that could have been done by anyone.
Yeah.
This one was actually approved by the Historic Commission, which means they definitely did the research, or at least approved it.
I'm sorry, Prue was also on the historical commission. Maybe I'm-
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, she did a lot of the research. So the question is, is this on your to-do list to look into deeply? Do we want to use our resources to do this? Do we want to ask the homeowner to just put the sign up? How do we want to do this?
Well, I think just temporarily at least. You have the sign exists already.
Right,
I would put the sign up the way it is now. We can take our time and research this a little bit more. Then figure out really, and then let the homeowner know about it. And maybe it's the homeowner's decision what to do, and maybe we can improve that. Between what we think and what they think.
okay, so there's one. Molly, do you have an opinion?
I don't have a strong opinion. I'm willing to be swayed by what everybody else thinks.
So here's the other thing, excuse me, but when there's an R before a date, that means range, and that means it can be 30 years either way. So this doesn't have an R on it, but the other set of research is 1730, and this is within 30 years of each other. It's not like this is 100 years off or 80 years off. I think it's actually kind of close.
Right.
So that's just
Owners.
another way to think about it.
And this,
So, Maggie,
Well, I have a thought similar to Bob. Put it back up and let us see what we find or don't find. It seems that it was done by someone officially several years ago. And they probably didn't just do it randomly, so I think we should put it back up and then as we have time, someone has time to do
Okay.
more looking.
the other thing
Are
is,
they-
who is most significant in terms of, this seems to be a very significant name.
well, we don't know Trask Harden. We don't know Harridan. We don't know. Harridan's a very big name. So I don't want to belabor this conversation tonight.
I can also
And
ask,
we can table it also, and we can discuss this deeper.
would you like me to ask the homeowner for his opinion?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very important because if we change the plaque, who's gonna pay for it?
That's exactly what I was just about to say,
Exactly.
Bob. I think we just say okay. I mean,
yeah, she
I think,
published it in her book.
I think we put it up and then.
I mean, it's not an untrue thing. It's not untrue.
It's not untrue.
Right.
It's based on Prue's research. Whether it's the earliest, probably many blacks up are not.
The only other thing I could think of is potentially she based it off of historical significance of the owners rather than the first owner of the home. So she said
Correct.
maybe that this owner in 1757 was more significant than the original, so they were just basing it off of that. That would be the only other way I would see why she would choose this date if they had the information in Macris already.
Right.
Is the homeowner thought maybe, I could see maybe the homeowner that got the plaque maybe had the same last name as this person and wanted the connection, something like that potentially. Yeah.
Right down the
All
street, there's a
options,
street
yeah.
that's named Warner, so I assume that
So-
could very well have been.
I think we're in
Yeah.
agreement if nobody is objecting to them putting it back up if they would like to.
Yep.
And Tim, you will leave it up to them.
I will.
You'll let them know. Okay, great, thank you. And the house almost next to you at 85 Prospect, that has a sign up that has no affiliation.
Yeah, I just met this
Um,
homeowner. He just recently bought this apartment building and fully renovated it. It actually looks phenomenal compared to what it used to look like. I did meet him 2 weeks ago. Nice fella, but I'm not sure where the plaque came from, but I could ask. Or give him the information for getting a real plaque.
Okay.
Say,
Yes. All right,
That's just not commission sanctioned. Yeah.
that's right. I just wonder where he got it and whatever, yeah. Okay, excellent.
That's one of the blue lights. Watch out.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It's so
Hope they
bad.
burn out.
I don't know how the town hasn't said something already. Like,
A little confusing because sometimes
I always think
coming
it's
down
a
the
cop
street,
car.
I think it's a police car.
I always do.
They have a blue light at the
Yeah, like a
corners.
bright
And it-
blue
Wow.
light.
And there's more
Is it
than
there
one
for
light
children?
fixture too.
I mean, what's that?
It's right
place?
next to my house. It's right 2 houses down from me, closer towards Destino.
The other way. Yeah, Destino.
It's like you come around the
Oh, I
corner
don't go out at
and it
night,
just
that's
looks
why.
like there's a cop car parked there because it's such a bright,
Yeah.
vibrant blue light. Yeah.
All right,
It's really annoying, actually.
Front door?
Yeah, like
Moving on.
literally there.
At least it wasn't a red light.
Moving on, number 5 on the agenda is Macris. And Julie is on fire. Let me say, Julie is on fire. Earlier this year, she updated number 23 Middle Street. She filed number 118 Middle Street brand new, which was the first one that we have filed in many, many years. And right now she's working on 3. So do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I started with 381 Essex Ave, the Virga House, because that was the most familiar to me. And that seemed to go okay. And then it kind of went off into another direction because we noticed, Peter noticed, or you noticed, somebody noticed that Bray Cemetery didn't have a Macris listing. So he quickly drew it up, just great. So
So
now,
he created a Macris listing for the Bray Cemetery.
Yeah.
Which didn't have one, and that has to proceed. Oh, no, okay, I see, okay.
yeah, because we noticed that their gravestone's basically in their side yard, so we're with that. Yeah, and that's Bray Cemetery, so now that has one, which is great because that's where the Freemans are buried, the Freeman family from that owned Wellspring. And then I moved on to 1099 Washington Street because I thought that was an example of a house that had a later date. I can't remember why I did that.
Well, that one won an award this past year, so maybe that's why it was on your record.
Yeah, it had a good,
I think there's
Oh, and I also-
discrepancy about year built, right?
yeah,
He thinks you found 1841, he thinks it's earlier.
yes, yes. But I still think 1841. So I'm gonna go with that.
Historic preservation.
So are these all still, are they incomplete? Are they complete?
All of those are complete. So those are done. Those are all in there.
And so
Loaded.
we have numbers now.
Yep.
And if we went to Macris, they would be on there?
Yeah,
Wow,
I mean, I can double check, but I'm pretty sure.
wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, so that's
Thank you
great.
so much. That's a lot of work.
And that's, with your help and his help, lots of people helped, so that was nice. So I'm working right now on 19 Allen Street, which is, received an award a couple years ago, or last year maybe. That's a little trickier.
Yeah,
I thought it was more self-explanatory, but it's not.
they actually had a plaque. They didn't get an award.
Oh, I'm sorry, a
Right,
plaque, yeah.
yeah, they got a house plaque and they provided a great deal of research,
Mhm.
so that's very helpful. So great job, really, really, it's a lot of work. In terms of documents, I put everything that was on Google Docs on a USB stick and gave it to archives, so we now have a backup at archives. And the 3 bins of historic paper documents are now at the Library History Center. Yeah. Did you want to tell us more about your plans for like when would it actually be accessible?
Yeah, it's currently accessible, probably keep it in storage, but completely accessible to the public. It's great that it doesn't need to be digitized, it's all been digitized, correct? Or the paper files have not been digitized? No, okay, so
No.
maybe that's a project somebody a volunteer can work on in the future.
Digitizing it?
Yeah. if it's-
Really?
If it's, yeah,
Wow.
a lot of people. Projects to do. So, yeah, but completely accessible. Probably won't get to it, maybe in the next couple months, I would say.
All right. And then if one of us were to come in the library and want to look something up that was in there, how would somebody even know it was in there, and where would they find accessibility to it?
Yeah, so until I process it, it will be, yeah, it won't be accessible to a wider audience.
Not be accessible.
No, but then
Will,
post-processing.
will it
So
be-
when I get to it, when I have time to
will
kind of
people
go
be
through
able
it.
to access it, from the internet?
Yes. Yeah, from our
On the
website.
outside?
We'll have a
If
finding aid and people will be able to have a
we asked,
need. Yeah.
if we asked you, if
All right, well, that's terrific. And then you also, did you get the archives?
I haven't gotten them yet, but
Uh,
I am going there on Friday.
Okay. I think it's one big heavy box. They have it all in. So there's one more,
Okay.
File.
yeah. Case, I would say, of documents that are going to go in the History Center. And that means then that all documents that we know of will be at the History Center,
Awesome.
or will be on our Google Docs. And now we have it back up to our Google Docs. Centenary markers. Ralph, last month had put our 4 markers on this public database. It's called the Historical Marker Database. And it has, I think I talked about this last time, thousands and thousands of markers from all over the country, organized by state, and then organized by city. So all of Gloucester's markers of any kind, and I think there are 41 of them, are all there. And what each page looks like is what you see on the right. It gives you the geolocation. You can click on a map. It tells you the inscription, and it gives you the ability to send to them pictures. So you can see the old picture is still there and with the date on it, and then the newer one, since we restored those. So it's a great database, and it just gives just another little bit of information on our website about the markers. And then I know Molly and Julie were working to draft. You want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah, so we met today. We were able to take into account Mary Ellen's edits or comments. Kind of looked at the 4 plaques and split them up. And then we've got a couple action steps going forward. The one about Anasquam is a little bit tricky to me. I've got some questions about the accuracy about that. And yeah, so
I can share, I just sent a request to share my screen so I can show you all what we were working on, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, you may have to,
Can you see it now or no?
Yes.
Corrections to the tercentrine markers?
yes.
Yeah, you can see. Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Julie. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to follow along, show folks here if that was helpful.
yeah, there's Molly's got the 2 about Champlain, including Indigenous people by the group that was here or that came from here. And the one about Anasquam, which I mentioned. And
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say the Anasquam one where it's the Babson is not very clear on this, and we know that there's a very active historical group in the Anasquam Historical Society. So Julie kindly offered to speak with some of them, which because we thought, it would be great for it to represent sort of what they would like it to focus on, sort of. I mean, not that they're going to be the deciders, but to kind of get some of their input, because we know that they have done a lot of research in this.
Yes. That settlement of Cape Ann kind of deals with the Dorchester Company coming, and then Mary Ellen's comments are kind of about maybe it's appropriate to bring in a lighter way the fact that they didn't last that long at all. And yeah, the connection to Salem Village and Beverly. And how to say that kind of delicately is what I'll work on. And then
Oh, and also, Julie, with that one, we decided that we weren't gonna, and it was your suggestion, I think, on avoid settlers.
Yep.
And use different language than that.
Yes. And then the final one is about the first meeting house, which is kind of also a bit sketchy to me. In the research I've done in this time period, but maybe other people know a bit more, but I'll be looking into this Reverend John White. He has an account that was copied by the Sandy Bay Historical Society, or kind of around this time, 1930. So yeah, that's anything else, Molly?
Sorry.
Just to say that Mary Ellen had this kind of little, sorry, I didn't mean to just delete it. Had this kind of commentary about why she had wished that there was an further archaeological work there. And though I think she's absolutely right, I don't think it's necessarily relevant here. So we'd probably get rid of that too, right? Julie, we decided?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, so great work and a little more to go, and we'll see if you make more progress this next month for our next meeting. Thank you.
Sure thing. And then I can stop sharing and you can go back to sharing, Susan.
Sorry. Did you stop?
Yep, I stopped.
Sorry.
She got to click up. That's all this piece. Well, right.
So next is a possible new project we might be working on, and Ralph, Julie, and we talked about last meeting, and we set a meeting for November 18th. So we'll have more to report at the next meeting. So tabled for the next meeting, Tim, you were going to look into historic rehab tax credits.
I did it, but we can talk about it next week. I have the research already, but
Oh, okay.
I can talk about it next week, or next
Okay.
month, sorry.
Yep, okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Also the website, we talked about the historic stories and whether we wanted to leave that on the website or not. So we'll save that for next time. Under partnering, Bob, you were going to be in touch with Joanne McKenzie at the Gloucester Daily Times to see what and if and what that is and if we can post anything to that.
I'll follow up
And
on, yeah.
Sue, you were going to get the rec cards, which you did, and we'll talk about that next meeting. So next up then is preservation awards and the results of the field survey. I have a quick question to ask now at this point before we get started, and that is this graphic that you see here, we've used for the last 2 years for preservation awards. I would like to use it again as sort of the branding for preservation awards. I think it worked well. Colorful, it's eye-catching. And I'd just like to know if everybody is on the same page, because believe it or not, we're going to need this in December. our next meeting isn't until December, so time is just barreling along. And that was one little tidbit that I just wanted to have in place so I can start to think about promoting our search for nominees. So long way of saying, does anybody object to using this visual or preservation awards for next year?
I think it's wonderful.
Go ahead.
I think it's a great building to have there.
There is.
Okay, that's that. And then before I give Maggie the floor, I wanted to review what our current categories are in Gloucester. And because we'll be talking about other communities and their categories. And these we don't award every year in all of these categories, but they have long been established as the categories for Gloucester. So there's archaeology, adaptive reuse, education and outreach, landscape preservation, restoration and rehab, a local preservationist, documentation of our history, and then an individual lifetime achievement. And then after that, we also have criteria. But I'm going to now turn it over to Maggie. And I'm sorry, Molly. And you've got the screen, Molly.
Great, thank you. So I know that Ralph, he was going to make a phone call, and I'm not quite sure if it ever happened. So, but his sort of data is not represented here. And Bob, I don't know if you had a chance to look into, I can't remember which community you had.
February 4th, and I searched online on the website. And there's
Cool.
nothing updating, so I need to call and touch base with them, which I will be doing that.
That's great. And just if there's anything you want to add as we go through the various kind of categories, I thought we could all just look at the responses together for the 6 that we did have. So these were the how groups or entities properties get nominated, and it was one where you could check all that apply. And the thing to note here, I think, is that we do have more nominated by the public than any other, which is something we don't do. If that's is that correct?
We do public nominations. I mean, it was put in the paper last year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Secondly, public. That's why I
Okay.
wanted to know what the branding is now.
Okay.
Well, yeah, nominations are public, but we still make the decision. Yeah, so there is a lot of, there is public nomination.
But anybody can nominate, and one can nominate oneself?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Is that something that people feel like they want to discuss or discuss changes to it all, or do you like the way we do that?
Opening up nominations to the public, is that the question?
No, the question is, do you like how we do nominations now, which is we bring people in, people can self-nominate, or people can be nominated by the public. And my question is do we like the way we do it now, or is there any reason that we'd want to adjust that at all?
Is there any suggestions for modifying it, adding to it? Is there anything that anybody else does that we don't know about?
Not as reflected in the survey, so it sounds like we're sort of on par with everybody else on this one. And that we like, but I'm just asking us to reflect for a second on how we do it and whether we like that.
More choices, it's a good thing. Sort of crosses over each other.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we do have a lot of trouble, it seems, not giving them if they're on the list. Like
Sorry.
when we have choices, it seems like it's hard to choose, ones that we're not going to give, and we always want to sort of, anyhow. but it doesn't seem like the nomination process is problematic at all, that everybody likes the way we do it.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So let's move on to the next one. So these are the categories. You'll see that restoration and rehabilitation was high. As were next categories, landscape preservation, adaptive reuse, and the individual lifetime achievement were also pretty high. So it seems like we're pretty in line with what others do. Um,
What's the finish on adapted reuse? You've got it twice. The second one and down around the seventh or eighth one. Yeah.
can you see the highlight that just showed up there? Does that
Yeah.
show up for you?
Yeah.
It's different than the first use.
Yeah, that's just adaptive reuse. This is community initiative.
Public preservation, stewardship.
Yeah, does
This-
anyone know? I don't know whoever wrote this.
This was mine, and
Okay.
these should have all been broken out into individual, so I would just discount that.
Okay,
And put another one up to reuse.
okay. So that seems to be a big one. Are there any other categories that we don't include or categories that we'd like to include more of? Like I was thinking about local history, if we were to accentuate that at all, how we could do some targeted kind of, I mean, because the houses are somewhat easy to see and know about, right? Because we see the construction or we see the renovation, whereas everything else can be sort of hidden in plain sight.
Mhm.
And so in some ways it feels like we have to look for those less obvious ones.
Would inside restoration versus outside, you know, cut the thing in half. One side's the outside of the building restoration or inside a building restoration would have different properties.
Um,
Be a choice. I guess that's what I'm trying to
It's
say.
still restoration. I think what Molly is saying is when there's, we need to be looking for different kinds of awards.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with that.
And they're harder to find. Like, okay, so today, here's something I just came across as, I thought it was really well done. And a fellow in Manchester made a interactive map of Magnolia with vintage postcards. And there have to be at least 100 of them. And what he did is he matched the postcard with the location on the map. So if you click on the icon, a postcard comes up with the exact view of 100 years ago, whatever the postcard was, of where you would be standing on the street. It's so well done. It's amazing. And I was in touch with him and he said he's, you know, hopes to expand it and so forth. But, you know, I kind of just stumbled on that. And I think that is something that we should at least consider.
I think so.
I think this is a good demonstration to advocate for public nomination, only for the fact that there are a lot of families and people who nominate family members who are documenting their family's history or local history. For example, like I know a guy locally who has a podcast who's now doing podcast stories of Gloucester veterans specifically and their stories that pertain all the way back. So they're doing like family history of veterans that have been through the ages of in Gloucester. So like most people wouldn't have known that unless you know the person. So I think for such a small community, I think public nomination is quite important for these types of niche projects.
Yeah, so
A lot of it's word of
And
mouth.
I wonder if we could get like a message out through the schools and the teachers, like the history teachers and such,
Yeah.
you know, if they know of any projects that either they've been involved in or consulted or as well as the small historical, you know, there's obviously the Cape Ann Museum, the Sawyer Free, But then there's all the small historical societies, like to do a little outreach
Oh,
with
yeah.
them.
Yes, agreed.
So just thinking about the ways that, and I was also thinking about groups, like advocacy groups, like I don't know, but thinking about like the Gloucester Racial Justice Group, like because they sometimes with the Juneteenth stuff, I know that there's often kind of questions around Gloucester history and things like that. So just sort of less obvious places that there might be people doing, small cool projects and documentation.
I think what I'm hearing is that we just need to have a broader, earlier distribution of awareness of the preservation awards.
Right.
Yeah, and how to distribute that earlier on to more diverse groups. And like you said, whether that's like sending out newsletters, now that we have the city newsletter, we could distribute
Right.
possibly there. We already do the paper, but not everyone gets the Gloucester Daily Times
No.
anymore. I mean, I don't.
It's a paper.
Yeah, so we need to start figuring out better ways of doing that.
So I'd like to put that on the agenda for next meeting,
Yeah, can we have
is
some
to
different
really
ideas?
brainstorm ways to get the word out about the awards and about the
Yeah.
nomination process.
And I think
Yeah, and to kind of like find ways to sort of
Kind of plan.
make people aware, because I think of people think of them because the majority of them are for restoration, that's how people think of them, and to kind of try to send, like maybe we could give examples of previous, like, that we honored, the amazing, some of the amazing volunteers in City Hall archives, just different kinds of projects we could sort of try to highlight as examples or something like that, just so people can see themselves and see their work a little bit maybe in some of this.
Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda for next time.
So the next question is about marketing, which is sort of, excuse me, it's about criteria for the categories. Whether it's really clear. And I think the answer was that it was sort of mixed. Some of them were really clear, and some of them were less so.
Molly,
Yeah.
Molly,
Yeah.
I thought about, excuse me, the one from Concord that I put on there.
Yeah.
It was interesting because, pardon me, it says, where am I now? Oh, yeah, so it says.
That top one, I think, yeah.
Thank you. But the program is aimed at recognizing owners, architects, contractors, et cetera. I think here there was some discussion about, should we even acknowledge the contractors?
I know.
Here,
Yeah.
what they're saying is that that's who's doing the work. That's who's got the skill and the mission to go do that. So I think to not recognize that feels kind of counterintuitive, I guess.
I think that I'm so glad you brought that up, because I totally noticed that, because that was something we had talked about before. Now, one thing I just want to say that as I was sort of analyzing this and looking at it, the other thing to say is that a lot of these organizations are, sorry, let me find that graph for a second, are not like us. They're not city organizations. They're more nonprofits.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about, like, does it matter? Do we think about it differently since we are a city commission versus if we were just a group of volunteers who had formed a nonprofit that cares about history? And do we feel a different sense of responsibility or uncomfortableness around honoring businesses since we are a city entity? I don't mean any of that as question, suggestion. I'm just trying to put these ideas on the table. Does that make sense? What I just said?
100%.
Okay.
From like a conflict of interest
Yeah,
scenario.
conflict of interest, or is it just weird? Because I told Matt, what Maggie said is that's exactly what I noticed too. I'm like, oh, we were kind of questioning ourselves on that, where it looks like that's really what others do. And then I thought, well, wait a second, but they're not mainly city commissions the way we
They
are.
are, that's the city of that's Concord.
Okay, so
There's-
that one is, but if you look at that, the that one is, but the other ones aren't. So, yeah, that's how Concord chooses to do it, and that's really good to know.
I guess it depends on the impact, right? Like, it's hard to say because like how many people actually tune into our preservation awards and is it going to positively impact those businesses? And that's what it comes down to is like, are we promoting a business as a city body or a city organization? And I don't know, some of it comes down to like, because it is a public preservation award that anyone can tune into, maybe that is. I don't know, it's a very gray area.
I think it's great too. I mean, I would say, Tim, it's not so much what happens that night, it's that you can then say to potential clients that, you were recognized in this way, right? So it's not just about whether or not you're tuned in that night. The other thing that I would say is that, the historic plaques, I mean, preservation is money, right? And so every time we do a historic plaque, we potentially raise the value of a house, right? So,
Is that a bad thing?
So that
no,
was-
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying that we don't operate outside of the real estate market already.
Oh, no, I don't think it raises the value of the house. Absolutely not.
Oh,
I
I think
think
it
it just
absolutely does. I think it
recognize-
absolutely does.
No, I beg to differ.
Well, we can agree
And
to
there's no
disagree.
proof of it?
Not in
But
my hands
that-
right now, Susan, but you don't have any proof that it doesn't.
I do.
I
You
think
do?
if it was
Great. Can you share it with us?
No.
Great. Well, I'm gonna say that there's none then. I mean, I'm certain it does.
So,
I'm back to the point that these people, these businesses are the ones who's making the project work. I mean, the owner is paying them certainly, and they're getting paid to do it, but they've got the skills and the wherewithal to make it happen.
So
That's
then
what-
should we be giving them to owners too?
Well, I think the owner is the one obviously who wanted to have it done. Usually they're driven by their interest in doing it. They want to make it known to everybody and they want to make it look like it used to look, and that's their interest. But, but they're also bringing in the experts who can do it, what they want to have done. So it's sort of that both parties have a role in it.
Yeah, but what if you want to have it done, but you can't afford it because that kind of contractor is more expensive?
Then you can't do it.
Then you don't get an award.
Right. I'm just saying, maybe you want to have it done and it wasn't done well, you wouldn't get an award anyway. I'm just saying, I don't think that's our job to worry about those kind of things. I think we're sort of straightforward. Is it a good preservation? Is it done well? Look like
Yeah,
it's-
no, if that's the way you want to understand it, that's
Yeah,
that's
what I think.
definitely one argument.
A report for good performance, really.
I think when it comes to historic preservation of privately owned homes, we do need to be, because there's so many people restoring homes, I think there needs to be maybe more stringent application of making sure that it's historically accurate. Like we gave out one award last year to a guy who did a house up very nicely, but he did not do it historically accurate. He took out a chimney that was a main feature of the house, and we still gave him an award. And it was not historically accurate. It was just a really nice renovation of a home, and that's kind of where I draw the line of
That's a
like, if
good
you can
point.
prove that you've been building your house to look like the original blueprints of exactly how it was, then that's one thing. But if you're gonna just change the features of a house, of changing the way the doors are and the window openings, that changes the actual architectural style of that home from the original house. And I don't think we should be awarding that.
Totally
And
agree.
I
That's a
think
good
I think there was more than one of those, Tim, last year.
Agreed. And that's why I think we should need to rein it back and make, if anything, I think we just need to make the criteria more
Stringent.
tight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would love to see owners who have already done historical research into their house, if that's like some proof that they can present to us as
And that really
being
is being
nominated,
done.
yeah.
Yes.
Because, yeah, I was struck by oh, I drove by and saw that house. It's beautiful now, which it totally is. And I agree. But yeah, if there were, we could point to concrete examples of things that were historically accurate in the house that the owner was aware of. Because that's very, very challenging to do.
Right, and then like the things that we honored that were like $2 million renovations, and it's like, wow, you spent a lot of money on that, and we're gonna give you I don't know. There's that comes where like there doesn't seem to be, it seems to be more money than it is research that we're awarding.
Agree.
Sometimes our property is in very bad condition. It's in jeopardy of being lost.
Yeah.
Somebody could take and store it, not keep it to as accurate as they could. But that's what they wanted to do, but they still save the property. So that's a thought. You know, where did they take the property from? It was really falling all apart. They saved it from going to further disrepair and then losing it. So that's considered for merit for that, even though they may not, like they may take out a chimney, but the essence of the house they did save. That's in a case where the property is in jeopardy of being lost. So saving a property, that category would be good, even if they didn't do it to the nth degree of
But if they didn't
preservation.
save it accurately, they didn't save it accurately.
Well, I mean, they had to save certain elements, but they may have missed some of the elements
Yeah.
in restoring it because they wanted to adapt it to their use.
Then it just seems like we're giving awards for remodeling.
Yeah, that's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, I just think,
Well, I mean, what I'm talking about is if the property was saved and they kept a lot of the original features in the property, then that could be of merit.
Okay.
That's a kind of a, it's, you know, and even in a good restoration, there are things that are done that aren't really accurate, you know. You know, there's a little percentage there that doesn't get done.
yeah. I mean,
There's certain codes that you have to apply to now. I mean, there's, you know what I mean? Like building code, doesn't allow you to do certain things.
Right.
Like, for example, I just put the new widow's walk on my roof, but legally I had to make the railing higher than the original blueprints because of the actual building code of a railing height. Yeah, so I made it as accurate as I could, given the current code.
All right.
Good point.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
So there are some minor, you are correct, there are minor changes that have to happen, but it's more about making sure they're staying and can show that they're staying accurate to the character of the house.
Right, yeah.
And like if they change the footprint of the house, which we awarded some last year that actually changed the footprint of the house because they wanted more space for their, you know, elderly parents or whatever. It's like, okay, well, how is this historically accurate if you're like completely changing the footprint of the house? You know what I mean? So it does seem like maybe we've gone a little far in sort of what we mean by preservation.
I did this a very long time ago, so and I focused on New Bedford, I think, but I was struck more by maybe there may have been some individual houses awarded, but I was struck more than citywide projects that the city was sponsoring received awards. And they're a very historical city, so I don't know, you know, we don't have to quite the same level of yeah, but
Well,
I was,
that would be like Legion Hall.
Yeah.
That would be like awarding,
so I don't know, yeah, the city awarding
The
itself,
city.
but I guess we don't get anything. Nobody really gets anything, but yeah, they were, you know, like historic walking tours and really like citywide efforts to promote history in Bedford. So I don't know.
I mean, that's similar to like our cemeteries commission, like it's technically a city committee, but they still got an award, right? So I think things like that are definitely applicable, like anybody who's doing historic tours or walks and things like that, for sure. Even if they are organized through a city. Yeah, I think we have to think about the historic or the restoration and rehabilitation one a little bit more stringently, I think, just because we've had so many nominations, it might be a way to make it more narrow and focused.
Maybe the future, what happens in the future with the decisions that you're making, whether they're,
Yeah,
why they're getting the plaque or not getting the plaque.
I feel like using a similar template in restoration that the historic district would hold you to is a bare minimum of what we would give an award to, right? So like in the historic district, you'd have to get permission from the district committee to do anything exterior to your house. And I think we should stick to a similar criteria, maybe, to be
Yeah.
applicable for a historic commission preservation award. That's just me personally.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just, their design guide is woefully outdated.
Yes. Everything's outdated with them.
But anyway, so I think what I'm hearing is that in this category of rehab and restoration, we need to refine it. Can we move on to another, category?
Yeah, this was the question that Maggie brought up earlier, this next one about, whether for-profit enterprises is awarded, and it looks like for most of them it is. But there were some where it wasn't. So this kind of goes into our question, but it seems like that's something that we're pretty comfortable with, that we want to be able to that we want to be able to recognize people who do the work, who are paid to do the work. I did note that this next one I thought was interesting, and I think is something. So we talked about, like, for example, the Graveyards Commission, Cemetery Commission, which, we've recognized, and those are volunteers who are doing that work versus like the DPW. Like, do we want to recognize city employees who are doing their job? And it seems like we're somewhat unique in doing that, unless the combination, if anyone wants to speak to anything they can remember about that.
I think this year was kind of an exception because the DPW went above and beyond their normal responsibilities to do the.
Well, yeah, I don't know, Tim. I don't know. I mean, I felt like I got the sense that what's the nice man's name?
Mike Hale.
Mike Hale seemed almost embarrassed up there. I mean, if you
No,
remember,
He's a nice man. He just
he's
felt.
a super nice man.
Mike, from my understanding, Mike likes to be recognized because he gets so many complaints. And when you send him an email and you say, thank you for taking the weeds down a Rocky Neck, he's genuinely appreciative. And it's not just him that's getting the recognition, it's his very few resources that he uses. So I don't think he was anything but pleased that he.
Yeah, I'm just remembering when he said it's not me who should be standing up here, it's the volunteers who did this work.
Yes,
He did say-
exactly.
But
So
the
he's
volunteers-
representing his.
But didn't the volunteers?
Staff.
No, he's representing the volunteers who volunteer for the city, not his employees.
No, but also didn't the volunteers are the ones who suggested that he did so much for them above and beyond? Weren't that I don't,
No, I think that was Susan who suggested it.
no, I thought someone said that night.
I mean, I think we should do all we can to recognize Mike. I'm just not sure that, like, I don't know. It seemed a little strange to me, but did you see other city employees getting recognized in other cities?
I think there were, well, actually, some of the ones in
Well,
Concord, they were done by,
Lifetime Achievement Awards are both people from the Archives Department.
Right, those are volunteers, not people
Right,
being,
that's
not
true.
salaried. That I think that's a really important distinction.
I can't see one actually for an employee of the city, the town.
So I don't know, that might be something we want to think about.
I think this particular scenario was unique.
Well, there
In the
were
sense-
two. There were two.
Okay, well, I'm talking specifically about the tercentennial markers.
Okay.
for the fact that like we being the commission / Susan was going forward with it anyways, whether they got town funding or not. And Mike Hale offered to pay for it with city resources. So I don't know, because I think we probably would have done the award either way because it was a really great restoration and a great asset to the city, especially right before the reenactment in Stage 4 Park. And I thought that was really good. I don't think we would have got it done as fast as we did for that time frame if they hadn't stepped up and helped. And I don't think that was directly originally in the criteria of a DPW task for this year. So I think it's unique in that sense specifically about reallocation of funds as well as time for something that was historically important to the town or city, sorry. That's my personal opinion on that one scenario.
So then do
What was
we?
the other one that we recognized him for?
For the, Pauper's Marker,
Right.
Seaside Cemetery. They, it was a granite marker about 4 foot wide, 3 foot high. And, again, DPW paid for it. They insisted that every name be engraved on it instead of just, a generic marker. And it was placed where the researchers had done all that research. So it was something that DPW also picked up the funding for.
I think that when we give an award, it brings attention to the accomplishment. And no matter what the entity is that does it, it's the performance. It's important that we point that out and make that public to people so that people can know that these are good things that we can be doing to restore and enhance our history. So I think that is more the issue, not so much the entity, whether they kind of like deserve it, it's their job. It's really what they accomplish. We're looking at that more than, whether it was, some people do things for profit too, so you're gonna give an award to somebody who made money on the project. It's okay, as long as the performance produces something that's in our interest. I think that should guide us more than who the award is going to.
What does everybody think of that? It's more the end result. It's more than, I think what you're saying is what benefit to our heritage, historic heritage, has the project brought forth? Whether
That publicity is very important.
it's done by a group, an individual, an employee, a volunteer. Is that what you're saying?
That's
Yeah,
right.
so what does everybody think of that?
I agree.
That takes the other trying to decide, through it's based on the performance rather than if we think the person is worthy of the award.
Mhm.
So we're giving the award really for what happened, and they're receiving the award for what happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's as clear as a guidance as you're presenting it, because of course the people who did the work also were awarded. I mean, the Mike Hale was
Sometimes yes,
an
that's true.
add-on, so that's not necessarily like a golden
No, but
rule
they
that
have-
will guide us through.
well, that becomes an extension of the original. First, you
That's
need
that's a judgment call, and that's what we're trying to figure out.
you can recognize the person for their.
Right, we should probably recognize the mayor then, because he probably had to sign up on the money. We should probably recognize the accountant who processed do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not sure where that ends.
But I think he was really directly involved with it. I think that's, when someone has direct involvement in the project and that they're responsible for making it happen, that's
Yeah, there's
okay.
work that's visible and there's work that's invisible.
Right, but I think the focus really should be on the accomplishment
Right, I mean, 'cause
while
then it
giving
accomplishes
credit
it.
to the person for making it possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just, if they contributed to getting it done, that should also, the effort should be, no matter where they come from, what background, if they contributed, even if they were paid to do it, it's okay, as long as they were involved.
Sounds like we're gonna need a bigger auditorium.
Exactly.
2 award ceremonies every year.
So what they receive, you can see that is not uniform, but if anything, it looks like that we're sort of in line, but we're not really sure about that one. I think we don't have anything conclusive there. There's a meeting or a ceremony in most cases.
So I'd like to add something there. I reported on Salem, Historic Salem, which it is not a city board, it's a nonprofit. And they have tried a number of not venues, but formats over the years. And one of the things they tried was bringing in a professional speaker. And so I looked into Historic New England and spoke with Dylan Peacock. And he and another, they give at least 30, it's on their website, 30 different talks in different areas of history. And there were 3 of them in particular on preservation that he and another woman give. The fee is $200. And I think that we can limit the time to be a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. So we can greatly change our format to, and I know we haven't talked about this much yet, but the other thing Salem did was they had one speaker and he was fabulous. He is their chief of police and he's some other
He's
politician.
former, he's currently the Essex County
Thank you,
DA.
thank you, thank you. And he's come back repeatedly because the community loves him. He's a great speaker. He's very funny. So they had one speaker. His script was fed to him by Salem history group. And he was the only one at the mic. There were 3 slides per recipient, maybe 4. There was a before, a during, and an after. And he just got up there and spoke about their project. When he was done, the recipient came up and was given their award and got their picture taken. And that was it. They were gone.
That's a good idea.
And so it was a very efficient ceremony, but it hinged on this speaker being so good and his voice, his projection, his humor, everything. But it gave me some ideas about not having our recipients come to the microphone.
For sure.
Yeah, that didn't.
And having maybe each one of us come up and do the presentation, but again, really brief. And then that might allow having a professional speaker come in and talk about old, your old house, say. And that way we might draw a lot more people from the community. Because right now, I don't think bringing in 100 people, I mean, I think it's a fine audience, but I would like to see us fill the ballroom at the Beauport. I would like this to be a community event that more people than just the recipients and their families look toward and learn from. That's my thing. I would like people to learn. I'd like them to learn about what's going on in the community. So many good projects. And my other idea was to have our house plaque, not recipients, but, you know, buyers, whatever, people, owners, be recognized. Because then again, I think that promotes the plaque program. And I thought maybe we could have an honorable mention category or some kind of mention that, you know, you just mention their names. Bob Whitmarsh of Blueberry Lane, Sue, you know, from Prospect Street, Tim from Prospect Street have all, you know, plaque their houses, somehow just bring to the group recognition, because that is preserving Gloucester's heritage. And anyway,
Now, it takes a certain kind of person to want to live in a historical house.
You're right.
You know, it's not just your average Joe that live in these houses.
that live and are stewards of them and care enough about them to have done the research on them and have taken pride by, you know, putting this plaque up. So anyway, a long-winded way of saying that another format would be is to cut the award part shorter and to have a
You have more awards.
professional speaker,
And-
or just cut the award part. And, you know, so,
Yeah, the other thing too is that when people ordinary people, they don't project well, and
They ramble on.
they ramble on, yeah, and
Right.
and people get worn down, and they
Train of thought.
they lose interest. And so I think
Yeah.
having something that's a little bit easier for the people coming. And also making it more efficient, that you can give out more awards and more recognition.
We have more meaningful things coming at you.
Right,
from
and
the
it may be better
podium.
presented too.
right.
Yeah.
So the original question was describe the event or the activity, for example, an awards dinner. Salem has tried it all. They've done dinners, lunches, they use the Hawthorne Hotel, so the latest that they did this year was they had it in a gymnasium of a school, and they had an expo, but they are very much into the city's restoration of properties, and they're involved in that. And so they had a lot of, is it
Contract.
Gary?
Yes.
They had a lot of Garys there, all set up with their cards and their businesses. They had somebody with, you know, historic books, and they had somebody with historic curtains and things like that. But it was very much set up this year. They tried as an expo. And I didn't think the facility in the gym was all that nice.
No, I don't think it was,
Acoustically good.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a big bargain for anybody. I don't think any of the contractors, they had plumbers, electricians, everybody could think of,
Yeah,
but I don't think anybody really, didn't go near them. Some people didn't go near those tables.
right. So I'm not so sure that was successful, and that wouldn't be a venue for
No,
us
no.
anyway, because
Yeah.
that's not what we promote. Anyway, I just
we saw
wanted
the
to say
conflict,
that
too.
that was, you know, Salem has tried a lot of different things. They said that having the speaker was a good thing, but there was something that year, it was Polly Wilbur is their chair. And there was some reason why it didn't work that well. So I'll have to check with her again if we think we want to pursue that.
Okay. So then this question, it seemed that, kind of, again, like if whether or not, you want people to present. So that seems to be the last of the questions that we addressed here, so. Seems like there's some ideas on the table for mixing that up. So I think that's the end of kind of going over the questionnaire. I don't know if we've come to any conclusions or if we just have a better sense of where we fit into the larger landscape of how these are done. But I think I'm gonna stop sharing now. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Molly, thanks for putting this together.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Great to see some data.
It's a good idea to do it too. I think the whole idea was a good one.
Thanks.
So what I'm thinking is that we should, marinate on this, see what the minutes, come up with. And revisit some of these topics at our next meeting. And really refine our format and what we're gonna do, because our next meeting was moved from November 24th to December 1st. So we meet again December 1st, and we should be starting to put out promotion for the awards. We have done it in December in the past. I don't know if that's too early, but we definitely then need to hit the ground running in January. So it's not too early to be determining.
We have a form that people can get and to fill out exactly who they're nominating, what their role is, or that kind of stuff.
Oh, thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
Salem had a form. Molly, do people submit nominee forms to you from different towns?
To me? So,
Yeah, as
what do you
part
mean?
of their survey?
No, the survey was just for us internally.
Yeah, no, I
But
know.
I think
It wasn't sent out to anyone else.
There was no
No.
way for us to put attachments in.
Right, there was no attachments.
I thought we had a form last year that people filled out,
I think it had something like that.
didn't we? Or did people just
I
send
think we
emails? It
did
was just
not.
to the
It
email.
was just
Yeah.
email us,
I
yeah.
remember there was like different
Good
lengths and.
Concord has a category that says major contributions to the accomplishment of the project may include architects, contractors, craftspeople, consultants, other professionals, as well as volunteers, nonprofit organizations, and municipal offices. So they take the
They
whole
do
gamut.
everything, yeah.
Everybody, anybody that's touched it.
Which one was that?
Concord.
Concord, yeah.
So I have a 2-page nomination form that Salem uses.
I think it'd be nice to structure it.
Yeah. I
Because
think-
last year, like, we just got nominees in emails and some of them were really long, where people like literally put in what I would consider the person they're nominating's presentation, and other people was just like, I nominate this person for.
That's
this.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I think we need, we need a
we
form.
need some, we need some
So,
structure.
and I think an online interactive form, if Molly, you can.
Um,
One
well,
for us, maybe all. of
That
us.
actually, that leads me to my final announcement, which is that tonight's going to be my last meeting. I can't serve anymore because I no longer live in Gloucester. And I was holding back to do this because I wanted to be sure that I was settling in Cambridge, but I am, and I'm about to sign a year-long lease. And so,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so this is actually my last meeting, but I am confident that you all can make a Google form and I'm happy to consult on it. I will send an email to the mayor tomorrow, but I wanted to let you all
Oh,
know.
well, I'm very sorry to hear that. Good for you.
Thank
Love
you.
it,
Yeah,
right?
that's,
You love
you know,
your job.
when I joined a year ago, I lived in Gloucester and I worked for the government and everything was hunky-dory and a lot has changed and it's hunky-dory again, but just in ways that I absolutely did not expect. So I really thought I'd be able to make a 3-year commitment, but alas, a lot has happened in 2020. 2025, the year where nothing happened that anyone expected. So
Wow. Well, it sounds like things are going your way then, and I'm personally very happy for you. Not
thank you
for
very much.
us, but
Yeah,
yes.
Congratulations on that.
yeah, that's good.
Thank you very much.
All
Yeah.
right, so I'll learn how to do a Google form.
You know, Susan, you and I went over it. You're a pro. And as I say, I'm happy to consult with it. I just don't want to, be the, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I will, of course, send you minutes from tonight. I've been taking notes and everything, so.
Okay,
Oh, no.
Minutes.
We're gonna miss that.
I got
Um,
I got break 3 months.
okay, so moving on then from that bombshell news and preservation awards. In terms of a calendar, next meeting is December the 1st, Monday, December the 1st, the week starting right after Thanksgiving. And in terms of the calendar, I'll be giving my talk on summer hotels at the library on Saturday, November the 8th in the afternoon. Historic Beverly has a long-term exhibit of 28 paintings that were used in Ken Burns' upcoming
Cool.
uh, program, The American Revolution. And so it's free and it's open to the public, but registration is required. And then the Ken Burns program starts November the 16th. That's 6 parts, 12 hours. And in between there, this Thursday night at the library, maybe Julie is better to speak about this.
Yeah, I got Harbor Light Homes to come and talk on Thursday night, in the community room. They are, working with the North Shore NAACP and the University of Minnesota Libraries on a project where they went through, I think, 400 deeds, to remove discriminatory language that, barred certain groups from living in certain areas in Essex County. So, they're gonna talk about that project, and they did it all with volunteers, which is great.
The dirty deeds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so they're gonna talk about that on.
That looks really awesome, Julie. Good for you for bringing that. I'm really sorry to miss it.
Yeah, we're signed up for it, and I've been spreading the word to Magnolia. And
Thank you. Yeah, it's a small group, which I'm surprised about, but it's kind of a weird have time.
yeah,
It might be worth, has anyone been in touch with the Gloucester Racial Justice League, just letting them know and they could promote it? to their-
I know somebody there, yeah.
Yeah, because they have I think they have a pretty active listserv. I was on it for a while. And so it might, they could maybe let their folks know.
Thank you. Good idea.
Yeah.
all right, well, does anybody have anything else to add? Any questions?
Oh, I think
All right,
that's some great ideas here.
yes, very good ideas.
Yes.
You know,
Well, I just want to say thank you for letting me participate in this discussion. I really appreciate what you guys do. I think it's very important. I also think there's a big distinction between ownership and stewardship that needs to be represented more broadly across the community. And in regards to your preservation awards, I think that it all comes down to the details. Like, as someone who's just like, I spend my life in old houses and this places that no one goes to, expect when you're working on them or taking them apart. And what I noticed constantly and have been noticing less and less as time goes on is the elements that make these historic homes are lost, not by like deliberate actions, but by the ones that are like the concessions made for building codes and comfort and all that. And I think there'd be a very strong argument for, simple awards that preserve like architectural details that realistically we can't create anymore. Like the cornices around windows, those little, bracket moldings that I know a ton of people and I don't know people who can make this stuff anymore. Exactly. And I think and then you just put an element of pride in the community to focus on these elements and details. And you know, old windows, changing the shapes of windows to make them conform to modern building practices when those things were made by hand. Like, you don't get that technology back. You don't get those, like, those craft skills. You know, even just like going into an older house, and if there was like a library for like, you know, this is a really old piece of wood, give it to Historic New England, let them do the dendrochronology so they have that in their record. Like, there's no shortage in pride in the community and the story of what these are. I also think there's like, where you live in a great area, it's how I make my living. I'm happy, I employ people, you know, we do really well. There's money here. You know, I go into houses that have 6 or 7 generations of electrical. Like, you know, like these places get hit. We always say like the best preserved places are all the ones preserved by neglect. You know, this place got built in 1700, no one touched it. You know, they didn't have the money to, you know, that old Yankee tradition. They didn't have the money to do it. They just kept it the same. And those are the ones that really endure. I mean, there's a huge uphill battle that's gonna keep the character of these neighborhoods and communities and streetscapes that, you know, with, you know, the influx of money, the building codes, the products, we're gonna lose these details, and then it all just becomes whitewash. And like you go 3 states over and everything's the same. It's a bland, it's the same, and you don't notice the difference between the Scandinavian quarrymen and like, you know, the Italian guys and the German guys. Like, they brought all those characters in to make these communities as they are. And I think in regards to like the people that you award, is you should award 3/4 of the town. You know, like, put the pride back in the community. If the whole DPW gets out there and takes like, you know, cleans up and does whatever, give them all an award. You know, do whatever you can. Like, the people who like make the difference to like, you know, keep the vines off the building from ripping apart the old clapboards. Cause like, when you go to touch them, I mean, like, you know, the difference between, you know, preservation, restoration, you know, is they're very fine lines. And, you know, it just, even letting people know that there's different options out there and that the community does value that you're gonna take that corner board that's 10 inches long, you know, wide, with that molding that goes up it, and you're gonna put it back in the same way instead of just being like plastic. You know, I mean, that's huge. And that's like, you know, there's only so much you can keep working away from the community before there's nothing left. So that's like, you know, that's what brought me. I actually watched your awards from last year. Like, and I knew, you know, I know Tim, and I didn't know he was on the board, and I was just snooping around. And that's what got me interested. I didn't even know this existed, to be honest. And but thank you for all the work you do. And there's no
Thank you for
I-
yours.
Yeah.
well, I think there's no shortage of every person we work for with historic home. You're right, they're not normal, they're a different breed of people, but the pride they take in it, the history they take in it, and like, you know, if there's a discrepancy between 2 different signs, because they're 2 different owners, put one on the front of the house, one on the back of the house. Like, a lot of people don't even notice them, but if you go there and you can tell the story, like, I have sat in people's backyards, living rooms, attics for days of my life, just hearing the story of like how this came in, or this was their uncle's house, or this is their grandmother's, this used to be the coal chute, you know, like all those elements that like, we forget that that's not like, you know, the aspects of how these houses were built for people to live in. You know, the difference between wood-fired places, the coal-fired places, the oil-fired places, like, that changed everything in regard to like how, and like, you know, you'll go into a house with 3 different styles of chimneys. You're like, all right, what are we gonna preserve this back to? The first one, when the guy was like, you know, cutting kindling down, and then the next guy realized there were no more trees to cut down. You know, like, there's so many aspects to it. So like, the term stewardship becomes so much more important, because like, you know, you want this person whose house has been here since 1725 to be here in 2025, to be here in 2095, you know, like, that's what's gonna work. And that's, at the end of the day, like, you know, the old world, this is old world America. You know, we all want to go to old world Europe and hang out and see all that. Like, this is, you know, this is the fabric of, in these communities, these groups are how it all works, you know?
We don't want to lose it. We are losing some of it.
Dramatic.
Now, a lot of
Well,
people.
thank you. That makes the case for us really rethinking preservation award for rehab and restoration and to refine that more than what we have in the past. And we're also working very hard to get a delay on demolition of old houses, which hasn't been able to be passed for decades here, but we are making a little progress.
Yeah.
But with that, I'm going to ask to stop the conversation so I can end the meeting, and then we can continue the conversation if you'd like. So
Okay.
somebody want to make a move to
I'll make a motion.
end the
I'll
meeting?
second.
Okay, Bob, motion, second, I agree.
I agree.
Everybody? Yeah, all
Great.
right. With that, the meeting is over. Molly, we're sorry.
I just want to say I have a great sensitivity.
Good
to
luck.
this.
Good luck to
Unusual.
you.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you around. Thank you.
The concern I actually have in general is that people living